management for 60 years. Franklin Templeton Investments. Gain from our perspective.
We're joined now by two experts on the cruise industry, and you're looking at these live pictures of the Triumph as it slowly makes its way to port in Mobile, Alabama. These are exclusive pictures from our helicopter flying overhead. Ross Klein has published 4 books on the subject, has a website, cruisejunkie.com. Stewart Chiron is the CEO of the cruiseguy.com. Guys, thanks very much for coming in. Kate is here as well. Ross, how common, I mean, we've heard horror stories coming from some of these passengers over the past few days. How common is this?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's common, but I wouldn't say that it's uncommon. There's probably, on average, about 4 ships a year where there's crippling fires, where ships have difficulties, and probably on average, about 10 ships a year that have disabling problems in terms of propulsion. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, in the number of ships that are out there, it isn't a huge number, so the chances of happening to an individual are certainly somewhat scarce, but it's frequent enough that, that we know that they happen and it's not unheard of.
Stewart, how do you think Carnival is handling this crisis?
Well, I mean, considering we've gotten much more information out of them on this incident than we've had on any, so you can definitely see a pattern that they've actually learned a lot from the last time when this occurred on Carnival Splendor. I mean, you know, we understand what's going on. Their teams have been mobilized a lot faster. Their reaction to passenger needs has been much greater. And, you know, they've done everything humanly possible under the circumstances to make them as comfortable as possible and also do the best that they can to get them ashore as fast as possible, because getting them to Mexico would have created a logistical nightmare, considering 900 passengers didn't have their passports, and trying to logistically try to get 4,200 people back to the United States out of Progreso would have been a nightmare.
And we're continuing to look at the live pictures from a helicopter of the Carnival Triumph making its way into port. Ross, what should Carnival or can Carnival do in the future to better prepare for an emergency situation like this?
Well, I think they're prepared for emergencies when they happen near shore. I think where they're not prepared and where the industry needs to give some very careful thought to is how to deal with these accidents when they happen when ships are at sea. This certainly would be an example. I mean, it took 4 days before people are brought back to port. Similarly, the Costa Allegra, it lost power after an engine fire not even a year ago in the Indian Ocean and was adrift for several days. I think what the industry needs to be thinking about is how are they going to address these problems when they happen at a distance in order to try to minimize the inconvenience to passengers and certainly the difficulties that we've seen on this ship.
And Stewart, do you think Carnival will make these changes or make some changes going forward?
Well, they're always making changes, but let's keep in mind that 3 other cruise ships, Carnival Legend, Carnival Elation, and Conquest, have been dispatched to the area. Tons of food and supplies have been transferred from ship to ship in some pretty awful weather, including, you know, rough seas and 30-knot winds, in order to try to make this as easy as possible, which is exactly why they were unable to move the passengers from one ship to another. So, I mean, you could definitely see that lessons have been learned, improvements have been made, and every conceivable option has been undertaken to ensure that these passengers are taken care of. I mean, no one's minimizing the suffering that's been going on, but they are doing a very good job in trying to expedite their return home. And
we should say that many of the passengers we've spoken to, they're on board. They do definitely compliment the crew on board, saying they are doing the best they can, but definitely there are lessons to be learned when something like this happens. Stewart Chiron and Ross Klein, thank you, gentlemen. Thanks so much for your help.
Good information.
We're
going to have much more on the crippled Triumph coming in. Our own Dr. Sanjay Gupta, he's standing by. He'll join us live. We'll talk about the health conditions on board.
You guys are good to go. Let me just get this out of here. Unlike some places, we don't just change your oil. Our oil offer comes with a 4-tire rotation and a 27-point inspection, and everything looked great.
Actually, could you